we're working and testing.
Mm-hmm.
I can screen share and show you some stuff, but basically the white label feature is live now. So if you
Okay.
have as a domain name and you want to host the Orgo app, you can call it the Lala Gardens app on your own page now. And we have the whole database and everything we built on the back end, like where you'll use our system and you can have people log into the Lala Gardens app and start tracking
Amazing.
tasks.
Okay, sounds
That
good.
was like the main thing. What I wanted to tell you about was that we got the white label feature built. And so we can start, there's a little bit of onboarding, but it's pretty simple. And then you can have like your Lala Gardens app.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, we would love to help you get started with that if you have volunteer projects that are currently going on. We have other pilot projects in various stages, and right now, the main thing that we're helping people with is creating task methodologies for your existing work. And so that'll be the onboarding process. That's like the majority of the work is in how do you define these tasks and
Mm,
describe what do the volunteers need to do and the way that they collect the data that fits for potential sponsors, what they would like to fund, the data requirements that they might have. So that's
wow.
what we're helping our pilots do right now. And I wanted to make sure you were able to get in there because I remember
Ah,
you're excited about the white label piece.
yeah, certainly. And I'm also really excited about that functionality because we are going to be stepping into data and just to have some onboarding as far as how to actually structure it is going to help us structure. So I'm really excited about that too. Is there a cost associated with the use of
And it's totally free, but we would like it to be a trial. So
Yes.
the what we're doing now is just focusing 100% on making a really top-notch product.
Yeah.
And what we know of right now is probably in another year or so, we'll announce a subscription model where you could pay to be a subscriber and get the white label app service for your community. So it'll
Okay.
be blockchain as a service for these nonprofits and community gardens and partners who are making a difference on the ground. You'd have a subscription and then you'd get your own app and stuff. And then our system turns that into the blockchain credentials and manages the volunteer profiles. And what we hope to bring to you and in that eventual future where you to be a subscriber, we want to bring our nonprofits the sponsors. So we're building a
Mhm.
community of sponsors today, and we're testing out a marketplace and we're in design phase for what that will look like. And we hope at that time that we can say, be a subscriber and list your projects with us. And, we have this list of corporations ready to kind of fund your work as part of their PR and marketing. So
What?
that's what we're in the works of building.
That's
And
amazing.
right now it's totally free, but it's all
Okay.
about the product for us right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nice.
just keep it in the back of your mind. I think you're like one of the early people, and we want to really honor these early relationships. The fact that people using it makes us seem valuable to the corporations and to the people we're talking to and stuff like that. So these
Absolutely.
unpaid free trials is how we're doing that.
That's gorgeous. Yeah, and I would like to know ongoing, like what we can do more of, like if we seem like we could be, yeah, just any kind of feedback that you have for us as we're utilizing your product, make sure, like, I don't know, just don't hesitate to bring anything up or requests or that sort. And then,
And
yeah.
speaking of that type of development, do y'all have plans for a mobile app in the future?
Yes, right now today, the Orgo app, we call it an app, it's a web app. So if you go to our website, Orgo.Earth on your mobile phone, there's a little launch this app button. You can start playing around with the volunteer side of things. And then what we're talking about is the community account side of things. So once you create a volunteer account, there's this little drop down, you switch to the community side, and that's where you can create tasks and create these fundraising projects, like with your goals and what you're planning to do when you talk to sponsors. So all of that is all web-based for now and for the short term. And just to throw a random number on it, maybe we have like another 6 months of an online, like a web app a website-based app for mobile phones, and a future point we'll have that. We're still refining some pieces of the design and the interface and stuff like that. And like once it's like polished, then we'll launch an app on the App Store. And the biggest feature difference that you might experience is being able to track impact with no signal. So you could use your phone and have the app, go out in the field, lose signal, lose Wi-Fi, and do your tasks and tracking, and then come back and then make the credentials later. And other than that, we believe almost all the functionality will be able to be done online.
Nice. So in the when you're doing tasks and in the process of documentation, I'm assuming there'll be like maybe potentials for pictures or text or whatever it is that they need to validate what they're doing, I suppose. And then
Yeah.
how does the badging work? Is that something that we can design badges for? Is that something that is automatic?
Let me open up, if I could share screen, it might be the quickest and easiest. If you could turn on the screen share
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yep.
setting,
Okay.
no worries. And I'll show you. So the short answer is, yeah, we have created the, it's called the task templates is what we're calling it. It's basically a methodology builder.
Okay.
And let's try. Okay, it's working.
Yep.
So here I am. This is what I was telling you about earlier. Right now, anyone can, for free, come to our site and create a volunteer account. And what we'd like to give Lala Gardens is this community account here. So here's how you switch over to the community side, and here's where you manage tasks. So here we have a series of tasks that we were using for like an in-person test that we did on site with the community. And basically, there's the task description, which is what the volunteer sees when they're looking at tasks they can help Lala Gardens with. So this is everything for the volunteer to know, to convince them sort of, hop onto this task. I'm just going to grab a task template from another thing that we did and just something simple, take a picture of a bird. And you can do like this one, bird sighting is the start of thinking about a biodiversity index on a site, tracking the number of bird species. But just a really simplified version, quick 5-minute task. And I'll go ahead and make it active. And then next, this is a brand new thing since last time we met. This is the task submission builder. So you can add field here, and you can choose if you need a camera input. You can say, take a picture of the bird and have any text or whatever. You can make this camera, this photo required or not.
Nice.
And it adds to the submission template. So this is when a volunteer presses start task, it'll open this. It's like a form. So we just added one camera element to the form. And there's, this is like just a little preview of how the form is going to look.
Yeah.
It's not actually, it didn't actually take that image here. It's not supposed to. But then you can create like one new thing that we just added is the file upload. So maybe you want to, upload the drone scans or something like that. Make that required. Them add 3 files, and it gives them a place to drag and drop or add other types of files and folders. You can add texts and checkboxes and all sorts of different things if you want to capture qualitative data, or what was the time of day, that would be captured in the time that was submitted, hopefully, if they were on site when they still press submit. But you can get time of day and the weather and start to associate other data that you want. And so this is where most of our nonprofits and community partners need the most help with, is on this side of figuring out, okay, what is your group already trying to do? And then how do we build methodologies around that?
Amazing.
And then basically this is, still a little bit of bugs. I guess we have a ton that we're using the default form, but eventually you'll have, your bird sighting task submission, and then you can use the bird sighting template to create a insect sighting, So we're trying to make these methodologies pollinate between groups. So you could use our other groups' methodologies, and we could build something specific for you and then use that for another person and stuff like that. But anyways, you end up doing all that and you say create task, and then it should be right here at the bottom of the list. And if I go back to the volunteer side, I'll just show you what that will look like
Nice.
to come into. That was on the Orgo community page. And the last one is the new bird sighting. Take a picture of a bird. And so this is what the volunteer sees. That's how I was explaining that. First page is everything the volunteer is going to see right here to make the decision to do the task. And then when they start it, it's everything that we input in the methodology. So we had a picture here, and this one actually will capture, hopefully. And then that's the picture I grabbed, and then I can add a photo. I don't think that one's required, so I'm gonna just press, oh, I made it required. So, but anyways, that's how it would work. And then there's one final piece on the community side that you'll be receiving these from volunteers. So one new thing we got is the notification screen where you get updates on, okay, you have 10 bird sightings, and then what it looks like. If I switch back to the community side really quick, you go into your submissions. So this is where you'll start receiving data from your volunteers. Here's one test one from the other day, and you have this approve and deny button. And let me switch back to the volunteer side and show you one last thing that you're asking about. So we have for this account does not have a already approved credential. So let me just switch to my personal account. And on my submissions, if I go into one of these that's approved, I keep using this bird sighting one.
I love it.
We have this is new as well. So we have the view certificate, and right now this is not on chain. We're still refining the product and the interface, and we're building the spec and the design of the smart contracts. But here's a version of what the template looks like. So this is verified by community leader. That was unfortunately the name of the account that approved it. And then we have a share to Facebook button and share to LinkedIn button. So you can share this credential back out to people who might care to know about what your volunteers are doing. So this is for the volunteer accounts to look at and see. And as a community, you wouldn't have your own credentials in this exact same way, but this is a feature for the volunteers to share. When they worked on Lala Gardens, they can post about it and say, hey, we just did this project or whatever.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So this might be a more complicated question, but my mind is going forward to what the potentials are for this. So like, say there's 5 certificates that would be required for a different kind of level of certificate. Is there a way to count or keep track, or is that something I do manually, or like, how would that work?
Yeah, so would this be a good example of what you're talking about? Like, you could have a project concept of install the garden plot or something like that. And then within that, you've got to prep the soil. Maybe you've got to, create the wood structure or something like that. And then you've got to put it down, and then you've got to install the plants on top of it. And then all together, that's a project. Is that kind of what you're asking about?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not live on the site right now. We are building something to address that, and
cool.
yeah, it's not live on here right now, but just verbally, what we're creating is basically something like a crowdfunding kind of a project creator tool. So you would go in, and I do wish I could can find the link to it. I'll show you what it looks like.
Incredible tool. I don't know, it's just dawning on me for the first time today that it's not just about coordinating, but it's literally like engaging of a community to empower themselves to actually do the work from the bottom up. Like, it's very cool.
Yay.
Good job. Yeah.
You're just buttering me up.
Probably.
Get an
I
extra
also mean it.
extra year free.
Oh, I can't argue with that.
I just loading this other page if I could find where we have one of the branches that's not live on site yet,
Mhm.
so I can show you what it's gonna look like. I forget what we called that.
I'm sorry
Yeah,
if
I don't know.
this was
It's taking me
already
too long, sorry.
talked about.
Right.
No, I have a quick question. Is there any projects that are doing their own local tokens as rewards for tasks?
Mm.
That has not started, but that is absolutely the conversation that we're having with groups. So you see right here, we have rewards here listed as part of the task description. And for the in-person event that we did, we were testing out with our own Orgo.Earth points, is what we were calling them. So right now, how it looks today is a text field that you can put whatever you want. You could write, Visa gift card, or you could write, free beer, whatever you want to write in a text field. And Orgo is not checking that. No one else is checking that. But your community nonprofit is, your name is kind of on these tasks, like you're asking people to do these. And so the future endpoint we want to get to is this platform is going to help onboard existing nonprofits into Web3. And it's basically going to be a DAO launchpad where when you come in and get a community account with us, it also creates your DAO community treasury with a DAO token, and that you would have your own rewards token right here. This is getting replaced by the thing that I was trying to pull up, and I think I have it now here. That rewards field is going to get replaced by our new fundraising project flow. So the way that we're structuring it right now is the rewards as a nonprofit, you don't actually want to get anywhere close to having employees. If you start paying people to work on your project as a nonprofit, it can get you in trouble with fair labor laws and even your nonprofit status. So we want those rewards to come from third-party sponsors. And so that's how we're structuring it. And we believe that that will protect you guys, for example, from paying them and then getting into different tax situations and legal situations around, okay, this is a person that needs to earn a minimum wage now because they're working at our site X number of hours and we're managing them like an employee. So yeah, there's a slight gray area there, but yeah, sorry, that's a way-winded long answer. The short answer is it's in the works. And then I was going to show you, this is how that project works. So say, for example, like our example earlier, you want to install a garden bed or whatever it is. This is where you create a project page that is visible to the corporate sponsors or even your donors who you're in touch with. So you describe the project and what you'd like to do, and then oh man, this is not the right link. This is an older version of the site, but imagine, for example, this is working properly. You select the task templates that are a part of that. So you would select the selfie task, and the latest version that we have has like the price or the reward for each approved credential of the selfie test task methodology. And then the quantity, for this garden bed, we're going to need 5 of the selfie test tasks completed. So you define the rewards and the quantity of the credentials in this fundraising page here, along with any other administrative costs or supplies and materials that you as a nonprofit will take on and keep the funds of. And then when the sponsor funds the project, those funds go into blockchain vault, and each individual credential associated with that project, as that credential is created and approved by you, the community, it's input into that project page. And at the end of completing all of the requirements for the project, there is a final retirement sequence, and we gift a NFT to the corporate sponsor. So they have like a philanthropic reward, tracking, I helped install garden beds at Olive Gardens. So that's what we're building. That's the flow, and that will replace that rewards field with the funds in the vault. And we want to show volunteers that open up a task. We want to show them right here, a link back to the vault, so they can see, oh, they still have, $5,000. There's plenty of money for me to get my tasks done. And part of that is going to include some sort of token for your community to kind of internally play with and gamify these things. So we believe if you have a non-monetary governance token for people completing tasks, that would be no problem for you to pay people with a non-monetary thing like that. As well as super tiny rewards like t-shirts and beer and things like that are totally fine to give your volunteer. So I don't want to overemphasize any issues with labor laws, but that's the direction that we're going in right now. And we're open to your feedback. Like if you start telling us, hey, we could really use the DAO tokens, earlier, so we can start playing with that, sooner. That's the type of feedback that really helps us build the right product.
Okay. Amazing. Wow. I'm impressed. Yeah, do you have it? When is your next so you're mentioning an onboarding session to is that a thing we schedule, or like how soon would it be something that we could
Yeah, so
play with?
it is, we're kind of like manually, like hands-on with our pilots right now. So the process isn't like the most super defined thing. But yeah, basically what I would suggest is we could meet over the next month or longer on like once a week or once every other week for a little bit of time. The first step is super easy, is just Lala Gardens account. So it's your logo, any like about information you want to include or links and stuff like that.
Okay.
And some stuff with your domain name and stuff like that. And then the primary person, I don't know if that might be you, Tina. If you haven't yet, is for you to come into our app here and then hit oops, hit the wrong button, I think. And then hit sign up. So creating that account, and then if you tell me what the email address is.
It is, what is it? It's Lala Gardens Cooperative, the whole word, @gmail.com.
Yep.
Okay. And actually, it'll be better for you to create the account. I was gonna say our team can give you a password, but we don't have a reset password button yet, so it's all manual. So it'd be best if you just create it with the password you want now.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then what I'll do on my side is my volunteer account, I'll add myself as an admin. So you're gonna be the owner of the community profile. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add myself as an admin so I can look at tasks and modify tasks. And then anyone else that you want, they can also create accounts and get in here. And let me see if I can show you what that looks like. If you come once I instruct the devs, you'll see this new option appear when you log in for your new community account. And on this page, you go to my profile here in the menu, and in the settings, this is where the admin are. So you could add, Tina or whatever. Someone else on your team, like Blaze, if you want Blaze to help you managing tasks, approving tasks, stuff like that, you can add them here. So that's what I will do as well. And the first things are, you create the account, we get you the community account, and then we get the logo and the colors, and you'll have like your own app. So it won't say Orgo up here anymore. And then we connect that to your website if you have a particular place you want it. Like we're using app.orgo.earth, so you could use app.lala gardens or whatever you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's just the hands-on and okay, what is coming up for you in the next 6 months of projects that you're working on site. I know you said earlier like trying to get access to land and stuff like that. So that's just a very hands-on manual process, and we'll go through 1 week at a time. Okay, here's where we're at with this kind of thing and stuff like that, and then
Oh,
hopefully get you to the point where you are happy with the task dashboard. And next time you have a work day, you can tell people, hey guys, track this on the app. And we'll start. You can also invite me to do an onboarding with those volunteers as well.
wow.
That would be part of the onboarding we're doing with other projects too.
That's amazing. I want to design something specifically for this. I
Yeah.
also wanted to know, I also wanted to know if there's going to be sort of cross platform, like if a volunteer has access to 3 different organizations that are using this app, are they able to sort of, is there any kind of cross communication between, can we do cross platform support like within Bloom, for instance, or like, anyway, I don't, it's a general question, but
For us right now, we have the same back-end structure for all of our pilot projects, all
cool.
of our volunteers. So like on the Orgo app, you can create an account. That's the same account you log into on Lala Gardens app or on the IDEO Capital app, like all the other pilots. So that's just our internal backend. It does go between all of the nonprofits that we have. But
Amazing.
then with other types of networks and stuff like that, right now, it's not a true integration, but manually there's a file upload option and those different types of text boxes and stuff. So
Okay.
for example, if you knew a certain type of task and you kind of wanted to import those over from Bloom Network or something like that,
Right.
I think we could build the methodology and have like the file upload. I don't know. I would need to look
Yeah.
at who you're imagining to integrate with.
They Bloom because they're like, because I know that because they're compatible with you. I know that much, and I'm going to be that. So it's like, yeah, it's not a concern at all. But I was just kind of curious what that looked like to you because
Yeah, we would want to start a conversation and then talk to their dev team, to be honest, is how it would
Yeah.
look. Our dev team would want to talk to their dev team and talk databases and stuff like that.
Very cool.
Um,
Yeah.
but one thing on our roadmap that I think is such a cool low-hanging fruit you might be excited about is I think in the next 3-ish months, we're gonna have a import from Facebook kind of a button. So you
Wow.
could like go in your Facebook account and go back to that time you volunteered and took a picture and then bring that back as a data input for a task
Oh,
on Orgo,
love
just so
it.
you can turn it into a blockchain credential. But anyways, that's for a
Okay. So
future
data
date. But
and
that's kind of the idea we
everything.
have about integrations, where like we would have to build something custom. It'd be part of the task methodology as a new option for our nonprofits. When you're creating a task, that you could say, yeah, allow people to use a Facebook post as evidence
Mm-hmm.
and bring in a Facebook post as that at that time. And so an integration with Bloom Network, we would, I think, build something with that same kind of philosophy
For
of
sure.
like have it as a new option for you and your methodology builder, import from Bloom, and we would on our end, we'd have building to do to make that as seamless as possible.
Yeah, that's a elegant solution. Cool. And I've only got 6 minutes, but like, is there anything that you can see that I might not know we can support you? How can we, how can we support you in general, like with other communities? Like, what would be? Is there anything standing out for you that?
I think the biggest thing right now is we're working on engagement on the platform. I think
Okay.
you can see this and you can get the
Yes.
vision. I think for the volunteers, it's still a little bit different and it's
Yes.
still a new way of working that's not comfortable and easy.
Yeah.
So it really helps even just, talking to one volunteer. Like if you try it out on a work day, and then if I could set up time to interview, the 3 or 4 people who came that day,
Yes.
or, that is the type of thing that's super, super valuable for us is getting
Okay.
feedback
I
from
can do
the
that.
on the ground users, because
Hmm.
that part is still tricky. And we're with across all of our different pilots, the actual on the ground and the work and the data, like we've got to make it as easy as possible for that data to come in.
Yeah.
And right now that's something we're up against. So I'd say that. And then I also think like on the marketing side, maybe you and I could make a bigger noise about things. I've been kind of in my hole, not very public facing with anything. As you can tell, we've been building a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But
Right?
I think that would be really cool to maybe like interview you on a Twitter space or write a blog article or something like that, or take Lala Gardens as inspiration, to turn into a feature on our site or something like that. Those types of things help a lot too.
Okay. Yeah, because I seriously want to design something just for this. And I have somebody in mind who's a volunteer who's been just begging to come. And I'm like, I needed a way to be able to structure this within the environment that we're building, right? It's got to be recorded and it's got to be able to be upgraded somehow if it ends up being. Yeah, anyway, I'm so excited about this, Joe. I'm so happy.
Yeah, one other thing that comes to mind is we've applied to grants with one of our pilots before.
Mm.
And we haven't got anything yet from that, but I still think grant money that's the best free money we could get. And if you could apply for your specific project using the app for the data and the verification side of things, like where we
Yeah.
could get a small piece for development of the app and stuff, and then you could get most of the funds for your actual on the ground work. Because that's what our ultimate goal, one of the things that we're trying to figure out like is how do we stop having all this wasted money from grants and nonprofit funding going towards excessive salaries and administrative costs and overhead and all of the friction involved with measuring and
Mm.
reporting impact, where these legacy systems like the Vera carbon market, like people are excited and happy when their project says, oh, we're giving 50% of the money from carbon credits to people on the ground. It's like, are you kidding me? 50%? Like they did all the work. So,
Right?
anyways, I think a
Breaking my
grant
heart right now.
is especially because you have like this cool project and this traction that you've got building community around it, like you'd probably be a great person to write it. I like to get grant funding. If you
Okay.
thought of something cool, like I don't know, whatever that looks like. And then we've helped people with that, and we have some grant writing kind of support
Oh, you
within
do?
Orgo.
You do?
Yeah. Like I'm a pretty good writer myself, but we've
Wow.
that's what we've been trying to do with like these hackathons and these pitches and stuff is like follow the free money.
Yeah. And we're challenged because we need to be able to recruit some people to help do some of those things. And one of the things that we just need is like support in the grant writing. I mean, we can visualize and come up with projects all day long that are viable and integrate
That's
community.
what I
But
thought.
it's like
I
I
think
can
you
do
have
that
the
part,
site
no
for it. Yeah,
wrinkles
you have
believe,
the
but I can't do the grant writing, and I don't know how to submit it. So lovely. I think that would be an amazing collaboration.
well, that's the type of low-hanging fruit we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
We are considering, other types of funding like VC or something like that, but that's a
Yeah.
whole another
Just
ball game. And we're really more mission driven than profit driven. And I don't like want a new boss that's
great.
like, profit, profit, profit. I want to like
Exactly.
build something that's going to make a difference. So
Okay.
I think the grants are a great way to do that.
Let's do
Yeah.
that together. I'm excited.
Well, I think for you, if I have that email, just make an account with that, and then why don't I email you? Or we have a minute and a half. Do you want to try to schedule something now, or let's save it
Yeah.
for an email? I think it's a little too
Okay.
rushed,
Yeah, let's do that.
but let's try to meet, and I'd say within the next 3 weeks, it'd be ideal. We could do
Okay.
sooner if you like.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get it together and come prepared and I'll schedule. Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited.
So yeah,
And
start
we're ready.
thinking
We have
of what
one
kind of
going.
project do you want to test out. And then that'll guide us as we create all the tasks around it.
Okay, let's do that. That's exciting, Joe. So happy.
So
Well, thank you for your time. I feel like I just had a word vomit that whole time talking too
No,
much, but
it was so helpful, and I'm
the
sorry.
vibes have been great.
You need to
thanks, Joe.
upgrade
I,
my Zoom
I
again.
apologize I wasn't able to contribute more. I was a little busy at the time, but I was definitely
No
listening
problem.
and I appreciate everything that you shared with us.
Yeah, no, I think there's bright things in our future. All right, well, I think it's gonna hang up on us,
I
so
know. Bye.
thank you so much. Bye.